Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the 1894 podcast. We are back live, and we are back after another match. It was opening day yesterday in the Bristol City version of the Championship for Bristol. That made no sense for Bristol City in the Championship. That I was trying to be cool there, you know. I'm a bit rusty. Yeah, it was opening day. It was game week 1, and Bristol City travelled to the MKM Stadium and played Hull City, and played out a 1-1 draw at the MKM up in Humberside. Uh, as usual with me, I have Matisse to start our coverage for the second season and running here on the 1804 podcast. Matisse, how are you doing? How was the? I know we made a podcast before, but how was your summer, and how's it going?
Yeah, my summer has been great. Still going. Enjoying the time off, but I felt like it's been quite short considering I don't know. Stoke didn't feel too long ago when I went up there. Didn't make it to Hull for the opening day. But yeah, we do love a draw away at the MKM. I think it was 1-1 last season as well. But yeah, I think it was a relatively positive performance. But I mean, we'll get into it. We still threw the win away. And at the end, yeah, 1-1, a point. We haven't won on opening day for a good few seasons now. But at least we didn't lose and was away from home. But yeah, some positive signs as well. But I think there's a couple of things we need to work on.
What was your take on the game then? Quickly, just very quickly, and then we'll talk about it in more detail later in the podcast as the podcast goes on.
I think it was a slow start. Max had to save us a couple of times, but then we grew into the game. Saw some bright passages of play, but then I think just a lack of clinicality from last season. I felt like our decision making was poor in the final third. Found the way through, but then a stupid Williams decision in the last minute costing us another last minute goal that we concede. So yeah, but overall I think it was relatively good.
So, this was the first Bristol City lineup of the 24-25 season, put out by manager Liam Manning. It was a back four with Max O'Leary in goal of George Tanner, Zach Viner, Rob Dickey, and Cam Pring. It was a midfield pivot of Joe Williams and Jason Knight, with Mark Sykes, Max Bird, and Anis Mehmeti as the three players off the front, with Max Bird occupying that 10 position. And the main number 9 was Sinclair Armstrong. When that team came in, were you a little bit surprised? Because that was quite different to what we saw against Willem 2 in the last preseason game. So, because, you know, Bird was not playing at 10 and Bird was playing in the pivot with Knight. Williams wasn't in. Who else wasn't in? Sykes wasn't in either. So, yeah, what were your thoughts?
I was surprised that Naki didn't start, to be honest, in the 10, because I thought that could work with Armstrong, and especially against Willem. I thought he wasn't too bad. But Bird as well in the 10, I thought that was also strange. I'd expect him to be with Knight, yeah, in the pivot positions. But Anis starting, I think, was right. And then obviously the back four, Max, is definitely going to be our standard starting players for the start of the season at least. And then Sykes on the right. Instead Bell started against Willem, didn't he? So putting in Sykes, didn't mind that too much. Obviously, Bell came on later in the game. Armstrong starting, I was happy with that. But yeah, I probably would have had Bird and Knight and then Naki in the 10. But still a strong lineup and a strong bench as well.
This was the Hull City side. It was Pandor and goal. Back for Jacob McLaughlin, Alfie Jones, Louis Coyle. It was Abdelkader Amur, Xavi Simmons, Marvin Melhelm, Regan Slater, and Ryan Giles. Melhelm and Slater and Simmons played as a 3 in midfield. Oscar Estepinian up top, who just got a strange Hull City career, but I guess definitely had an impact on the game yesterday. So, opening kind of 20, we'll start talking about the game then. Opening kind of 20 minutes, it had a little bit of a, I don't know, had a little bit of a weird feel about it, because kind of felt is a kind of transition from a pre-season to the new season, if you know what I mean. The intensity was not quite there, but it felt a bit of a strange start.
Yeah, yeah. I think we always usually have a slow start in games, and we've kind of had that track record for especially last season. But it was I was kind of expecting that. Um, but yeah, we weren't amazing in that first kind of quarter, and yeah, they had a couple decent chances, and Max had to pull off a couple good saves. So yeah, good to see that it's still in form. And yeah, a couple shots that they probably should have finished off, and we could have been down quite early on. So relatively lucky there, but yeah, slow starters. Well,
Yeah, Oscar Stepinian had a shot kind of saved point blank range by Max, and Ryan Giles looked quite threatening on the left hand side for Hull. So yeah, there were a couple of good moments, as you mentioned, from a Hull City perspective. We also showed bits in the first half, and I'd say probably were the better side in the first half. Showed lots of kind of moments. Sykes, Armstrong, and Metty were in a 3-on-1, I think, in the first half, weren't they? And I think it ended up with Jason Knight, and he passed out of play to try and find George Tanner or something. Basically, we couldn't find that perfect final ball, could we, in the first half?
yeah, no, that some of the passes, I don't know though. I think Pring was trying to find Armstrong. I'm not sure which half that was, but just certain decision-making moments, I think, cost us when we won the ball high up, which we did quite a few times. The pressing I thought was great.
Pressing was brilliant,
But
yeah.
then we just made the wrong pass, bit too heavy, wrong decision making, and then that cost us. It really just felt like we didn't know what we were doing, which was disappointing to see because a couple of those were kind of good half chances that we could have easily turned into a good chance and then could have finished one of them off and could have definitely had another couple goals.
And going to halftime 0-0, probably, as I said, probably the better side in the game. And yeah, did you? I don't know. Felt a little bit of a missed opportunity at that point because we should have probably should have gone for a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we looked the more likely overall in the first half. I was pretty happy how we were like playing towards the end of that first 45, but still a tight game. We obviously know Hull still have some threat, and we had to be careful. But then yeah, going to the second half, definitely thought we could push on. We didn't make any changes half time. We're not usually sort of at the side who changes at the 45 mark, but yeah,
Manning isn't that sort of manager, is he?
yeah. So we had the same lineup going forward, and I thought that was fine. I thought I think our finishing as well in that first half was a little bit off when we got into certain situations. I think Bird flew one over the bar when it came to him, which was just a bit poor. But yeah, looked the more likely, and I was relatively positive going into the second half, and I thought it was just a matter of time until we get another one of those chances. But hopefully this time we can put it away.
The second half comes about. First 20 minutes of the second half. Not seen a City side play like that in a while. Absolutely dominant all over them, weren't we?
Yeah, for that first 15 minutes, we were really going for it, and I thought, let's just keep the pressure up. And then I think they made a couple substitutions.
Liam Millar came on and Will
Yeah,
Charles came on.
exactly.
They were
And it switched a little bit. I felt like we were still going for it, but then the pressure sort of came onto us a little bit. They had a couple chances, a free kick or two in some dangerous areas, but overall, I still think, yeah, that period of domination and passing the ball, brilliant. Some passages of play were great. I think we found a ball into Armstrong, but then put it wide. Just that final shot in the second half. But I feel like decision making and playmaking was really, really bright. And I was quite impressed early on in that second half. Yeah.
so. Then the changes come about from a Bristol City perspective. The first change comes, and it's Fally Mayulu, isn't it? Isn't it Fally Mayulu? Fally Mayulu for Sinclair Armstrong. He comes on 64, and then a double substitution on 72 with Naki Wells coming on for Max Byrne in that number 10 position. Sam Bell coming on for Mark Sykes. Sam Bell occupies on the left hand side with Mehmeti going to the right, and made a difference. Talk to me about that Fally Mayulu goal on 84.
Yeah, just before that, yeah, on those substitutions, Naki Wells coming into the 10. I want to see him a bit early. I think I want to see him start next game, number 10, see how we can do across 90 minutes, or at least most of it. But yeah, I thought I would have preferred a Bell on the right and keeping Anis on the left, because I think Anis works the best when he's on the left. And Bell, I think towards the end of last season, we tried him on the right, and he didn't look too bad. And I think he could be good there. But yeah, that goal was just fantastic. Yeah, high press. Naki Wells gets a clip off the off a clearance, then it deflects. I think it's a header by Williams or someone. It's kind of going all over the place, and then it's a misclearance by who was it? Jones or
No, it's Matty
McGloin?
Jacob.
Matty
I
Jacob.
think it's Matty Jacob.
Yeah, completely fluffed his lines there and missed the ball completely. And then it's just a beautiful touch. I think he gets it with his thigh, and then he just leathers it with his left foot, and it's just a brilliant finish from outside the box. I think maybe just in the box, but around the edge of the box, bottom left corner, in front of the away end, debut goal. That's a good way to start a Bristol City career, especially coming off the bench as well, to put us 1-0 up. But yeah, that was a very good goal, and we needed it, and I thought it was deserved. So yeah, very happy for him, because I thought as well in pre-season, I thought Armstrong he was going to be the more like starting striker. He scored a couple nice goals. Maybe didn't. Did he score in pre-season? I feel like he didn't. No, he didn't.
Don't think
So
so.
I was expecting Armstrong to be our better striker, but hopefully this boosts his confidence. But yeah, fantastic goal. It was great.
Haven't had that sort of kind of player who has that kind of finish in him for a while. I think Tommy Conway did a similar sort of kind of technical finish at Rotherham last year, wasn't that kind of poke into the far corner, directing it. That was quite good, but don't really have that kind of striker there. So Valley, brilliant on debut as well, magnificent. Showing real quality there. And then after that, goal on 84. You go 1-0 up away from home. You expect to see that game out 9 times out of 10. And then, of course, it's Bristol City who just don't have the capability and the kind of steal about us to go and see that game out. It's just so poor from Joe Williams. But just before that, Cal Naismith comes on for Anis Mehmeti, and Cal Naismith is no way involved in this goal whatsoever. That's a
Yeah,
lie.
well, we would love to say that. But yeah, he came on in the 89th minute. Didn't take him too long
and
to
then
make it.
within like 20 seconds as well.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
it's
we
not
moved
his
to
fault. It's not Naismith's fault, by the way, but it's just an accumulation of just brain dead moments.
Yeah, it's poor. Yeah, ball's crossed in, and then it's just in the air. There's no real, like, obviously we're in the box,
It's in the
but
box, but it's not like he's in a dangerous position or he's going to shoot or anything. It's in the air. It's about head high. He just
yeah,
has to let that bounce and just clear it after that, because
yeah,
they'll our defenders and midfielders will then swarm around the ball and try and clear that away. It's just so needless from Joe Williams.
he wasn't even going for a shot. Well, the whole City player, and then he just absolutely just barges into him. Sometimes he's too aggressive. He's got his new haircut now, that we've seen, and it took him 11 minutes to get a yellow card for the new season. I mean that's probably an easy bet. The odds weren't probably too high for that. But yeah, lucky maybe not to get a second yellow there. But yeah, he clatters into him, doesn't win the ball. It's a clear penalty, and it's just stupid. It throws away 2 points that we worked relatively hard for. And yeah, then you look at it, you could say, yeah, we should have finished other chances to make sure we win. But then again, we defended well, and that we shouldn't be doing those sort of things, and we shouldn't have to, give away penalties like that. In the last minute, and then he puts it away.
Yeah, Oscar Stepinian steps up, puts it in Max Soleri's bottom left-hand corner. He goes the right way, Max, but it's a good penalty. And and that is just annoying. In the 4 minutes of added time to concede in the 91st, just annoying as anything. And what should have been 3 points turns out just to be the one. And what should have been a really, really good start is just a okay start, isn't it? Yeah, annoying. Yeah, ended there. Bristol City drawing 1-1 at Hull. Move on to the player ratings, or give us your summaries, because there are a few key points. I can't speak key points about the game. Max Bird in the 10 is one of them. I thought he looked quite good. I thought he played quite well and helped instigate the press. Sinclair Armstrong's debut and Max O'Leary, I thought one of them quite good.
Yeah, Max
And
O'Leary.
Mayulu, of course.
Yeah, Max has been so consistent for us now, especially last season, and yeah, he's great, and hopefully we can keep him for a good while longer. Yeah, Armstrong for his first game, he had 64 odd minutes. But yeah, I thought he was okay. Definitely, no, but I thought in some certain situations, now I remember, just we needed that physical presence. Some of the chances that he created, I don't think Conway did. He muscled them 2 players off the ball.
Got that running
then,
power, hasn't he? He's got
yeah,
so much physical attributes about him. Conway doesn't.
Yeah, and I think he had 2 Anis on his left and Sykes on his right, but he decided to go with Sykes, and then Sykes kind of had a bad first touch and cut it in, and then put a shot wide. But yeah, he looked relatively bright. Got a couple opportunities. Maybe needs to work on his finishing a little bit, but I thought it looked bright, and I'm very happy with Mayulu and Armstrong now, because that goal was incredible, and I think they can maybe not. I don't think they'll necessarily be on the pitch together a lot, but a good rotation between the two, and touch wood. Hopefully they don't get an injury, but if they do, I feel like I'm happy with both of them starting. Max Bird in the 10, like I said earlier, I'd want to see Naki. Well, as much as I love Naki, I mean, all the Bermudians were down there as well for the game. You saw they got a whole crowd going, but yeah, I want to see him play in the 10 and then move Bird and Knight back a little bit. But yeah, still Bird overall, great signing. You can tell already he's going to work well with Knight, and yeah, I think those 2 will be integral to our midfield throughout this season. And also Anis, also thought I think he's like getting into his form now. It's been a year and a half now since he's joined the club. So I think this season hopefully he can really get going for us. But yeah, we need to still hopefully get a 10 through the door before the end. And also news on Conway. See what happened with
Talk about that in a bit. Yeah, I agree with all of that, to be honest. Just on your Mayulu and Armstrong point, as kind of can they play together? Well, what Bird did yesterday in the 10 position was he pressed high quite a lot. Normally when Hull had goal kicks, you could see Armstrong up there, obviously, but you could also see Bird like right pushing on the box. So I'm just wondering whether if we put Armstrong as the 9 and then maybe Mayulu just behind him, and both instigate the press, because they're both still high up the pitch. They're still making an impact. So I don't know. That might be something for Manning to figure out. But at the moment, it's just about betting those 2 players in, because they've both got quality. You can see that. It's just about how we kind of extract that from them. Both just about just slowly bleeding them into the team. Player ratings or any other?
Yeah,
any
just
other
before
points?
that, I think on that, if they play together, we could see us try a 4-4-2 maybe, and kind of like a fluid 4-4-2 where we can move back into a 4-2-3-1 in certain situations. But we always play a 4-4-2 in defence. What I've seen throughout the last season, we always move into kind of that structure. But now, yeah, the press though, I was really impressed with yesterday. That's one thing. That would be really good, and that's how we got our goal. So yeah, that's important, and yeah, I like that sort of style of play for us.
Right, I think we've covered most of the points we wanted to on the game. Let's move on to the player ratings. You can get involved in the comment section if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify, you can come over on YouTube and join us there and get your thoughts in as well, or any other if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms as well. Let's start with Max O'Leary in goal, who I thought had a very good game. He saved us in the first half. Really had a little Leicester do in the second half, but I thought he had a fairly good game. I'll give him an 8.
Can we do 0.5s or is
Yeah,
that? Yeah, okay, I'll give him a 7.5. Thought it was good. Yeah, couple good saves. Couldn't do anything for the penalty, but yeah, another solid performance.
George Tanner. Didn't really notice George Tanner,
Yeah,
to be
kind of
honest. I thought he
sorry.
was kind of just steady. I'll give him a 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. I didn't really notice much of the back four, really. Viner, I thought, when we started one brilliant passage of play, it came all the way from the back from Viner. They were pressing us high, and he got out of the situation. We had a couple brilliant passes, and then I think Pring fed it into Armstrong.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And yeah, that was really good to see. But yeah, most of the back four didn't really notice, but yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Zach Viner.
A 7 as well, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'll give him a 7. Rob Dickey.
7.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think he had a good game. Didn't really do anything wrong, did he? Yeah. Cam Pring.
7. I'm going to go with a 4 for everyone at the back with a 7. I thought they were all pretty standard and defended well after we went through that first 20-minute period.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Oh, just on George Tanner as well. He came up against Ryan Giles for how many minutes was it? 58 minutes, and Giles looked quite threatening, and maybe because George Tanner didn't quite get close enough to him at points, because Giles isn't a natural left winger, he's a left wing back by trade. So maybe if he'd have got a bit closer to him, maybe put a bit more pressure on him, he wouldn't have been as threatening. But yeah, that's minor things. Joe Williams.
I'm going to give him, because we're saying 6 is on par, I'm going to give him a 5 because he has single-handedly thrown away the win. I would say it's not all his blame. Like, yeah, we allow them to get the ball into a dangerous area, but that will happen naturally across the game. And yeah, got a yellow card early on. He was okay, but he did literally into our attacker and yeah, gave away a penalty.
Can't disagree with that, to be honest. I thought you can't really do that it's a little bit of pressure on. You can't do that. It's just inexcusable for a player of experience. His experience, really. Jason Knight.
7. Thought he was decent. Looked like a good lead as well. First captain game for us this season. Yeah, he looked vocal. A couple like clips I saw, he looked like he was running up the team. I think he's a good captain, and he'll be a good captain for us. And it looks like he's enjoying the role as well. So yeah, 7. Thought he was solid in midfield.
I'll give him a 7.5 just because there was this one situation where Cam Pring was caught right up the pitch and the ball turned over, and Jason Knight was sprinting back like anything and to try and cover Pring, and it's just the kind of commitment you want to see from your captain. So yeah, for that I'll give him a 7.5. Thought he had a very good game. Showed all the Jason Knight qualities really you'd expect from him, and we've got used to from him. Max Bird.
I'll give a 7 as well. I thought he was he I don't know if he necessarily wanted to be in the 10 position, but he still played well there. High press, like you mentioned earlier, was good. But yeah, solid performance.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I thought he was fairly good. But yeah, that pressing was pretty good and pretty integral to how we played for a lot of the game and how we set up off the ball. So yeah, I'll give him a 7 for that. Mark Sykes.
I'll give him a 6. I think it was relatively an average Mark Sykes performance. I only remember a couple chances that he had, but put a shot wide. Yeah, he didn't do much wrong, but didn't see much from him either.
Yeah, I'd like to see more end product from Sykes, or just get into more threatening positions, because I didn't see that enough yesterday, and I'll agree with you and give him a 6. Anis Mehmeti, I'll give him a 6.5. Again, couple of decent situations, but want to see a bit more, in the attacking areas now, because it's no longer Anis Mehmeti of 6 months ago, just a year ago, where you're going, "Oh, just give him time." It's been a year and a half now. Just got
Yeah.
to kick on a little bit.
Yeah, I'd give him a 7 though. I thought he's in pre-season and also today he's been looking a bit more threatening, and he got in between the lines on one good chance. I felt like he could have cut it back to the edge of the box and there could have been a shot on there. But yeah, he took it, got a shot on target. But I thought he looked bright. So yeah, but you're right. There's no excuses now. Hopefully he can crack on. And yeah, get us some more goal contributions.
Sinclair Armstrong, I'll give him a 7. Provided real threat. I thought really, Sean McLaughlin really struggled against him, I thought. And yeah, just really good pressing. I know that seems like a bit, you ran around a lot. But I generally thought that pressing was crucial in how we quickly, I think we were the highest in terms of, or it was the shortest time for ball recoveries in the championship this week, which was really impressive. Yeah, so that just basically means we won the ball back really quickly, didn't allow Hull to be on the ball very long. So yeah, Armstrong was crucial in that, and so was Max Bird. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I'd agree with the 7 for Armstrong. Obviously didn't score, but looked bright, and yeah, it looks like kind of the sort of player that we needed and we were looking for. So hopefully he can get his first goal soon.
Fally Mayulu.
Well, it's definitely man of the match for him as well, and I'm going to give him an 8. Didn't have too long on the pitch, only 25 minutes. Took him 20 minutes to score, and yeah, what a finish! Looked bright, and yeah, he just took it, and it's just moments. He didn't miss any obvious chances, and took it well, and yeah, gave us the lead where we missed a lot of decent opportunities early on in the game where we should be doing better, but this time didn't think about it, made the correct decision, and yeah, touch of class with the kind of a volley in a way, because yeah, he just touch and finish.
I'll give him a 7.5, purely because he was on the pitch for 30 minutes or so. So I'll give him a 7.5. But yeah, he tried the same thing against Willem in the preseason game, swiveled and hit it. Then it went just wide, but this time it actually came off, and more important this game. So yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. Excellent performance, excellent goal, and hopefully we see more of him, and maybe we see him on Tuesday night, which we'll talk about in a minute. Nahki Wells, I thought had an excellent impact on the game, so I'll give him a 7.5 as well, because he won the ball back, didn't he, for the goal? And he also was just a ball. He was just a threat. So yeah, I'll give him a 7.5, same as Fally.
Nahki Wells is not gone. He's still here, and he's just getting to his prime now. No, I really hope this season he can play a decent role. Conway's not going to be here. If we don't manage to get a 10 in, I think he can rotate with the front the three of Mayulu, Armstrong, and himself. So yeah, I thought he was good. I'll give him a 7. It's the first time you've given him a higher rating than I have probably, but yeah, no, he looked bright. And I think yeah, I'd like to see, maybe we can try it in the cup. Just a good at least one half, how we can play with Mayulu or Armstrong, because I think he's good at holding up the ball and fighting those passes. He did it a couple of times. I just remember distinctively, like against Middlesbrough when Conway scored last season, kind of just a one touch and then play a nice ball through, and then it was a one touch finish for Tommy then. But yeah, good performance. Yeah, I hope he starts.
Sam Bell.
Sam Bell, how long did he have? Yeah, same as Nahki. I'll give him a 6. I don't really notice him, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, just average performance, I guess.
Liam Manning, finally, because I'm not including Cal Naismith in this, by the way.
Yeah,
he was on the pitch for, even though he was partly responsible for the goal Hull scored, but we'll ignore that.
I'd say a 7.5. We probably wouldn't give him an 8 if we won, and it was not his fault that we threw that away at the end. But
no,
I still give him a 7.
I mean, Would you say, did you really need to bring on Cal Naismith? Because we really under the pump? Were we like, were Hull like
Yeah, but
really bad
it's
when we
always
got off
better
the
be
break?
safe and move to a 5 back, just have a bit of more defensive kind of depth
But
towards the end of the
would
game.
you would you argue that
The
Dickey and
4 back
Vine are
was yeah.
we look better with a back four than defensively than because we were the fourth best
Yeah,
defense in the league last season, and Dickey and Viner were the only players that were the mainstay in that defense. Hayden Roberts came in and out, Pring came in and out, Tanner came in and out, but we didn't look too threatened apart from wide areas, and that's not on Dickey and Vine. And they looked, very confident in what they were doing, and they looked fine.
yeah, you could argue that. You could argue that. He probably won't do that again then, but,
Hopefully not.
yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. Still think we're positive after the start, and Hull didn't really have a massive threat other than they had a couple dangerous set pieces, and other than that first 20, yeah, I thought we were good. And I was really impressed with some of the passages of play getting out from the back, and the press.
Christ, I've not seen that since the Lee Johnson days. That was really impressive.
So yeah, hopefully more to come over the next few weeks.
I've given him a 7 as well. I thought, no, you gave a 7. I gave him a 7 just because of that substitution at the end. Do we really need to add another defender when maybe we should have taken off who was on the pitch at that point in attacking sense? Maybe, I don't know, taken Jason Knight off or something. Just add another midfielder on there, something like that. But it's kind of minor. But yeah, I'll give him a 7. I thought we played really well, and as you said, the patterns of play were finally on show. We've been waiting for a while now, since he's come in, since that Middlesbrough game, which feels like yesterday. Which very first no QPR was the
Oh
first game
yeah,
he was in.
I remember going to that.
QPR away. Yeah, the first proper game was
Yeah.
Middlesbrough. Really, yeah, the first proper game was Middlesbrough. But yeah, we've been waiting for those patterns of play, and we finally saw it yesterday. So hopefully, as you say, more of that to come. Let's move on from the game. Let's move on and talk about the Tommy Conway situation, because it was reported yesterday that late yesterday that by Fabrizio Romano, who is well respected in the football world,
Can't argue with him.
that Tommy Conway himself is in advanced talks with Middlesbrough over personal terms. That's what I'm interpreting from it. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on the timing of it as well? And why do you think he's going? Why do you think his preferred club, as for Romano said, is Middlesbrough over someone like a Burnley or a Hull? They've been linked as well.
Yeah, I think overall, I think it's just another messy situation where it's just a shame it's just gone down like this. But yeah, just after reading some articles, obviously you can't argue Fabrizio. Also, the Hull City chairman, well, according to Bristol Live as well, saying Conway's also he admits Conway's leaning towards Middlesbrough over Hull, but Hull could still be in the picture. But now, yeah, we could probably likely see him play there. It's just a shame, really. Just like he obviously probably put forward his terms that he wanted, and I guess what we offered him wasn't really what he was okay with, and yeah, it's just falling through. And we both said as well in our preseason podcast, it's strange that we think he's probably most best fitted, like for himself, like when he looks at what club he should play for, he's probably best fitted for here. He's been our top goal scorer for 2 years, and I just don't think his level is with us. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens with him now. But yeah, if we can get 5 million or something from him, then yeah, we'll call it part our ways, and then yeah, see what happens.
What are your thoughts on the I know you mentioned it, the Hull chairman, saying he prefers Borough to Hull when he's our player still. Do you think that's a bit? I was a little bit like, should you really be talking about a player that's still contracted to another club about his preference to join someone else over you?
It is a bit strange. It is a bit strange, and it can be controversial. But then again, like I think everyone knows that he's gonna go out the door, and because he's been what? It's been since he came back from Scotland. Well, not from Scotland, from where was the World Cup now? I
Germany.
forgot. Germany, exactly. Not the World Cup, the Euros.
The World Cup.
Since he came back from the Euros,
If
he's
England
been
lost the World Cup final, I wouldn't be on here for 6 months.
yeah, since then he's been with under 21s, and it's obvious that he won't come back. We've signed 2 strikers, and yeah, he's going to be out, which is a shame, and kind of ended without us knowing. Like we didn't know it was going to be his last game when it was. So yeah, it's going to be a shame, but yeah, well, I think he'll definitely be out the door before this transfer window, no matter what, I reckon.
Do you think he's worth 5 million?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is. I think that's probably the most we'll get him for. But I think he's
Especially
got.
considering his contract's out next summer.
Yeah, exactly. And considering he's been our top goal scorer, he's got a lot of potential. I still think. I don't think he's the best player. He definitely wasn't our best player for the last 2 seasons, but he's been good. He knows. We know he can perform in moments, and he's still a good striker. I think 5 million is a fair price for him.
Right. I think we've addressed that fairly well. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Could look at Coventry next Tuesday. Well, it's coming up in 2 days already. In the cup.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm a bit stupid. As I said at the start of the show, I'm a bit rusty. Right, the Coventry game, cup game. Do you think changes or many changes are going to be made by Liam Manning? And if so, who's coming out? Who's coming in?
I reckon he'll keep. I reckon he'll.
Also, remember, it's not like we're playing a League Two side. We are playing Coventry, who are
Yeah,
quite good.
yeah,
And they've also
yeah.
sold out their away end at Ashton Gate.
They did lose 1-0 yesterday against Stoke. It was away from home. But I reckon we keep the. We don't switch a lot. I think we definitely won't switch Max. But maybe we put in Hayden Roberts potentially. Naki at the 10, and then maybe drop Williams.
Fally starts.
That is also interesting. I don't know exactly know what he'd do. Personally,
I'd keep Sinclair Armstrong, to be honest.
yeah, that's what I would do, but I don't know. I don't know what Matt. I don't know. I can't predict.
If Manning go with Sinclair Armstrong against Millwall and he's already got that set in his mind, I'd start Sinclair Armstrong on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon he could do that, and maybe I reckon he'll keep Sykes, and then Anis on the left, and
he's got to give Anis games, hasn't he? He's got to give him a consistent run at it.
And back for the same. I don't really see, but maybe hopefully McCrory can kind of adopt that right back role if he plays, and see what he can do. But probably start Tanner. But I'd like to see Hayden Roberts play.
Isn't Ross McCrory injured? I think so. I haven't really heard much of it, to be honest.
Yeah, and Cornick not even on the bench. We didn't mention, but
that's very true.
That was a bit odd. There's been really nothing on him.
Yeah, it's another weird situation where he's clearly not, in the starting 11 when we're at our best, when we're in our strongest starting 11. But he's someone you can kind of bring on if needed because he's quite a decent utility player. But yeah, interesting scenario. Maybe we see a bit more from him, kind of around that situation later in the next few weeks, maybe before the end of the transfer window. Yeah. What do you? So you'd make that maybe Taylor Hickman comes in as well potentially.
Potentially, I think we'll go for Max, Roberts, Dickie, Viner, Tanner, Knight and Bird, Naki at the 10, and then the same front three. So I think Roberts and Naki will come in for Williams and Pring. But that's it. Maybe Bell for Sykes. That's what I think he'll go for. Because still a tough opponent, and also we've still got a couple new players in the side, Bird and Armstrong, since the end of last season. So yeah, I reckon we'll go along those lines.
I agree completely. To be honest, I can't see too many changes. Probably if there are going to be changes, it'll probably be Roberts, it'll probably be Wells, and yeah. Would you think we get through?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do. We've still got to stay optimistic. I reckon we can win. It's going to be our first game at Ashton Gate for the season. I don't think there's a lot of people going there. When I booked my tickets, which was only a few days ago as well, basically every seat was free. I had like every choice. So I'm gonna have a lot of leg room. Just put my feet up. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the atmosphere will be okay, but I still think we do get a result. Hopefully, because I think our performance is quite positive. So yeah, I see us winning. For prediction, mm, I'm going to go with 1-0 again. I put it for last game, but I still don't think we're going to score a lot, especially now at the start of the season. I think it might take us a few games. But I'm going to say 1-0, but I think we can keep a clean sheet. And I think again, from what we saw yesterday, I think this season we can be in, again, like last season, a top 6 best defense in the league. I reckon.
Depends what Coventry do. I think. I know we played them in the cup. Was it last year?
I'm pretty
No,
sure we did.
a couple of seasons ago, maybe. Where we beat them 4-1 at their place. Well, not at their place. We beat them 4-1 at the Pirelli.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Andy Bowman scored there as well. I remember that.
I
I don't know
can't
why.
remember. I cannot remember. But yeah, 4-1. I think we beat them. I won't go for a repeat of that. I think we might get through. But I also think Coventry will probably play a strong side because they want to get some momentum in the league because they're looking at the top 6. And some people have tipped them for the top 2 because they're quite good. And despite them losing at Stoke, they're still a very good side. So I'll go 2-1 Bristol City, but that's quite reluctant and probably not going to happen. But hopefully we get through. Do you want to talk about Millwall now, or do you want to do it later in the week?
I don't mind. What do you think?
Do it now. Let's just do it now. Why not? Got time. Millwall at Ashton Gate is the next league game. They lost 3-2 at home to Watford. It was a bit of a bizarre game, actually. They went 2-0 down. They scored late on. Duncan Watmore scored twice to get them back on level terms in the 89th minute. And then, kind of similar to what we did, then let Watford score in the 90th minute. Mileta Rajovic scored that one. It was a bit of a freak kind of display because Watford scored a free kick from about 40 yards out, which is not going to happen every time. And Edo Kayembe for Watford scored straight from a corner, which again is not going to happen every time either. So I don't know how, despite Watford not being great, and they're not, as good as they were a couple of seasons ago when they were just been relegated from the Premier League, but maybe Millwall aren't that bad, and maybe that's a bit of a freak result, and maybe it won't happen again. What are your thoughts on them, and how do you see this game going on next Saturday?
I mean, in terms of transfers, they brought in Tanganga
Lucas Jensen, Macaulay Langstaff,
and stuff. Yeah,
good
from
players.
yeah. So they brought in 2 keepers.
Yeah, and Liam Roberts as well from I think
Yeah.
Middlesbrough.
So yeah, I think what was our last result then? We're playing at home. I remember Millwall away. That was at the start of last season. That
Well,
match
the
was
last result against Millwall was it was so depressing. It was a cold Saturday.
I might have
It
been
was
there.
it was overcast. We played awfully for 90 minutes, and then they sucker punched us right at the end and scored from a set piece. And Joe Williams tried to punch someone again
Oh
and
yeah, I do remember
pushed them
that.
over the edge. Sean Hutchinson, I think. Was it? No, it was Ryan Leonard. He tried to punch Ryan Leonard basically and put him over the edge.
It'll be a tough game, I reckon. Will be a test for us. But yeah, I feel like still at this early stage of the season, we don't really know a lot about all the teams. So it's a hard one to read. I mean, when we look at the other scores as well, Leeds drew at home against Portsmouth, which was another insane game. So yeah, I don't know a lot of how Millwall are playing, but it obviously won't be easy. No game is, but I still think hopefully against Coventry, if we have a good game, we can push on and get a result and just continue good start of the season. It's always good to, I think if you don't lose at the start of the season, you can go on a decent run, especially if you, I think winning an opening day game, if we did win that game, I think that really pushes you forward. But not losing as well is, I think, is big, because then once you get that first loss, that kind of affects you a little bit. But yeah, I think we get a result there.
Go on then. Score prediction.
Score prediction: if Mayulu starts, it's going to score about 10 goals and win the Golden Boot. I say
goal every 30 minutes, mate. Goal every 30 minutes in the Championship is a fact.
I say 2-2. I'm going to go for, even though I said I think we can beat that. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to go with a bit more of a high scoring one. Just throw in the dark, see what happens.
I'm surprised you haven't gone for us to win. 2-2
Yeah.
seems like a me prediction.
Yeah, I don't know why. Last second, I just 2-2 popped
Well,
in.
okay. Let's put it. Here's my thinking. Neil Harris conceded 3 at home on Saturday. He's a very Neil Harris manager, if you know what I mean. He's very, pragmatic. He's defense first and then everything else. So his thinking is probably, oh God, don't want to lose 2 games in a row. He'll go away from home. He'll set up the cliche, park the bus, but not to extreme. They'll be direct. They'll have good players. They have good players in their team. Good goalkeeper, good centre backs, Cooper and Hutchinson and Tanganga. Like Ryan Leonard, I like as well. It's probably going to be 0-0, but I'll go for us to win 1-0. It'll probably be 0-0, but I'll go for us to win 1-0.
Yeah,
Probably,
0-0 is
probably a
probably
piece or something like that. And also, we aren't the greatest team at breaking teams down.
no, we don't have a good track record.
Especially without a number 10 who probably won't be in by the Millwall game unless this is gains, steerage traction in the next 24 to 48 hours. And don't think he'll be in for the Millwall game. Probably after that though. Yeah, so I'll go for us to win 1-0, but just and maybe like a late winner or something as well. But if we do get that, 4 points in 2, good start, very good start. Win your home games, draw your away games. Premier League. It's simple as that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's it for this edition of the 1894 podcast. Thank you very much for joining us for the new season. If you have watched or listened to this, we do appreciate you, everyone that's tuning in, whatever way you are. If you're on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review if you haven't already. That would be massively appreciated from both of us, and just generally attracts people to this wonderful podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the 1894 podcast. Again, allows more people to come and watch the show, and that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, if you've made it so far, you've clearly, you're either here to type a little comment at the end and say how bad we are, or you've enjoyed it. So you can do either. Don't mind. But yeah, that would be very much appreciated as well.
Yeah. Make sure to follow our socials as well. Both got an Instagram, and he's got his YouTube as well. Yeah, we'll be back probably after Coventry or after Millwall. You can see, probably give you updates on the socials as well. And final point, in the classic Bristol City way as well, on the opening day of the Championship, 2 ex-Bristol City players went and scored as well, Andy Vyman and Kane Wilson.
In the same game?
In the same game as well, which is just fantastic. No, I am happy for Andy though, but I hope he doesn't do it against us, because that would be painful.
I would just like, I don't honestly, that would be awful. Yeah, and Marlon Pack got an assist as well. So yeah, for Pompey, great
Um,
stuff. But yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in and listening wherever you are, and we'll see you very soon. But until then, keep safe, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.